All right. Hey, folks, this is Dr. Ed with Total Body Healthcare. As you know, we do Whiteboard Wednesday. And again, this is week number 2 where I'm not standing in front of my whiteboard. We've got a unique opportunity this week with May being Mental Health Awareness Month. I thought we could actually talk with somebody who's in the mental health field. And this particular somebody is actually a cousin of mine. My cousin Sherry here is a counselor. She's up in Indianapolis, Indiana, and she's agreed to sit down and answer some questions for us today. So, Sherry, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself first?
Yes. Well, first of all, thank you, Ed, for inviting me. It's my privilege to sit down and talk to you about something I'm passionate about, mental health. So my husband and I, as you said, live in the Indianapolis area, and we have 12 kids and that are all married. And then we also have 12 grandkids. So we're a busy family, but we just love our families. But right now, I am currently in a position at a Christian counseling organization called Care to Change here in Indianapolis. We have 3 locations, but I am a certified life coach for Care to Change, and I see clients just all different issues or different problems, or maybe I always say ones that want to get unstuck.
Okay.
And so that's just my passion, to help people move forward. So
Gotcha.
That's a little bit about me.
All right. Well, I think one big question that everybody has is, why do you think, since you're in the trenches, why do you think mental health is so important?
Well, that's such a great question, because I do believe that mental health, it just affects all of our whole being, our whole life. Mental health is so important to make sure that we have that in a healthy state.
In our practice here, when I'm trying to educate my patients, we talk about the 3 stresses that cause all of our health issues. And it's usually not just one of the 3. It's usually a combination of the 3, but the 3 are physical, chemical, and emotional stress. And honestly, through my 27 years of practice, I say that the emotional stress is probably the hardest one for patients to get over to begin their healing process. So I agree with you. It's hugely important if somebody truly wants to be healthy.
Yes.
What are some of the maybe stigmas, if you will, that because people say, "Oh, you go to a counselor? Really? What for? What? Why do we have those stigmas? What do you think some of those are, and how can we overcome some of those?"
Yeah, great question. There's quite a few stigmas out there, but I think just to boil it down, it. I think that people are afraid that it shows weakness. Our society we want to portray that we're strong and we've got it
Right.
together, and so it just kind of shows weakness, they think. But we all need help sometime or
Agree.
other. We
Mhm.
need help. It's not just an individual or someone that's weak. It's all of us. I always say there's storms in life, and it's not if, but when.
Right.
And we all go through something. So stigma would be that they feel like it shows weakness. It also, there's a shame attached to it for some reason. Maybe they heard someone say that, like you said, you go to a counselor. And so that attaches shame to them if they feel like they need one. And then kind of an embarrassment that they go to a therapist. And what I am finding more often here is that it's more acceptable to go to a life coach than a therapist.
Okay.
So, I'm seeing more and more people that they want a life coach because of that stigma that they kind of have heard in the past.
Right.
But, and I always find that any stigma is just really a lack of understanding. So,
That makes sense. Yeah.
yes.
It's kind of like the same thing that I have with I've never had a patient regret starting an exercise program, and I've never patients that have used counseling in the past. None of them have ever regretted that either. So
Right.
you're right. Those stigmas do tend to come from that misunderstanding.
Right. For sure.
Yeah. What about statistics? Can you share some of the statistics for of mental health issues in the U.S.?
Sure. I think the statistics are so astounding. 1 in 5 adult Americans have some kind of mental health issues per year.
Wow.
But here's the astounding part. over 50% of those individuals don't seek any help. They don't get any treatment.
Right.
So it's super important that we really take this seriously.
So in that 50% that do, what differentiates them that do versus those that don't? And those, how would they know if they need to seek help?
Yeah, that's a great question too. I mean, bottom line is what I tell people: what's keeping you up at night? Oftentimes, that could be a manifestation of something greater. So don't ignore that, but kind of take note of what's keeping you up at night. Mental health could be a root cause of a lot of physical ailments or symptoms. So that could be kind of something to look for, like a weakened immune system, sleep disturbances, headaches, GI issues, even heart condition. So it's a serious issue that we should not ignore our mental health, because it does.
I've actually had a patient ask me, how in the world can emotional stress at work be affecting my body? And it really surprised me when that patient asked me, because when you pointed out, so many patients do recognize that when they're emotionally stressed, they just plain and simple don't feel good. So it really surprised me that one patient did ask me that. But you're right, it manifests itself physically.
It does, for sure.
So once you begin working with a client, what are some of the steps that you use to help achieve optimal mental health, if you will?
Yes. Yeah. Well, I'd like to share 7 steps that I think are really crucial for maintaining optimal mental health. And first of all is recognizing your emotions and not ignoring them, but watching for signs of distress. Here's some common symptoms and flags that individuals see and that I see: would be taking off more time at work than usual, maybe a greater use of substances, whether it's chemical or maybe social media even, that could be, or anything that numbs you, a greater use of that. That's a red flag there. Increased irritability, that, more reactive to smaller things than normal.
Mm-hmm.
Any changes in sleeping patterns, as I said before, even sleeping too much, or even not sleeping at all.
Right.
So those are kind of signs to be aware of. And then just any changes in relationships. Maybe you had a strong relationship with someone and it's just kind of gone sideways, or just is different, and you're withdrawing more from people. That is actually a red flag or a sign as well. So recognizing your emotions and being aware of those. And then secondly, focus on what you can change or what you're in control of.
Right.
I love the serenity prayer where it says, God, grant me the serenity to change the things or accept the things I cannot change,
Right.
the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So, just realizing some things that it's actually in your power to do, that you can control. I suggest that you make a list of those things that you can control, and maybe make a list of those you can't, so you can see the difference. And then here are a few things that you can control. You can put on that list is your attitude. You're in control of your attitude. You're also in control of your self-care. A lot of people think self-care is selfish. It's actually not. It's actually good for us to take care of ourselves.
Right.
And then thirdly, you're in control of getting some help. And so I'm going to share some resources at the end that you can get some help. But those are some things that you can be in control of. And then thirdly, eliminate toxic influences. Now that could be a lot. It could be a lot of influences, but here are some common ones. Anything life stealing or anything that robs you of peace, that would be a toxic influence. Emotional destructive relationships. Some people are in that situation. That is very toxic. And then sometimes social media, as I said before, that we get in this comparison thing. And then we're like, oh, they've got a perfect life. Well, that's social media. Probably in real life, I would venture to say that they have problems too. So, Yeah, for sure. So eliminating any toxic influences would be one step. Then also creating healthy routines. Work-life balance would be one of them, and making a sleep schedule a priority. Um,
Hmm.
and then you just kind of said a little bit of this earlier, but include the mind, body, and spirit. They all need regular routines. So creating a regular routine in your life will help. And then fifthly, find support. Connect with others. We were created for community, not to be
Absolutely.
on an island. And so make sure that you're being poured into by others so that you can pour out with as well.
Hmm.
I always say you can't pour from an empty cup. You have to
Exactly.
be filled. And community helps that. So, who brings you life and who cheers you on? Connect with those people, do life with, find a tribe. I actually have a tribe of women, and we meet weekly. We do life together. We do Bible study together, and we just sharpen each other. So it's really, really important to have a tribe. So, and this is important for everyone, not just if you have a mental health issue right now. Everyone needs to do this. So,
To help prevent them in the future, certainly.
right, right. It's a good preventative. And then, sixthly, reach out for help. As I said previously, there are times that we all need help. And so, give yourself permission to reach out for help. And I always say, it's okay not to be okay.
Hmm.
It's okay. There's always hope. I always say that too. Um, Oftentimes when a client comes in for the first time, I say, revealing is the first step to healing.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I like that.
um, so it's so important that you make that step to go to get some help and kind of reveal those hidden things that you've had for maybe years. And so reach out for help. And then finally, find true peace. And since I work for a Christian organization, I can say this, and I truly believe that that is through our Creator, God, whether
Amen.
that's through prayer, Bible study, Christian music, again, a community of Christian believers. Note that it's okay to have this Christian community or what you're doing in the spiritual and a therapist or a life coach. Those can go hand in hand, especially if you find a therapist or life coach that um, they're from a Christian organization. It's really, really helpful. So
Yeah.
those are the 7 steps that I feel like are most important for mental health.
Great. I mean, that's a lot of great information. So thank you for that. If you were to narrow it down though, to just a few words, maybe step number one, I don't know, how would you achieve and thrive in life? What would you suggest there?
Yes, yes. So I often use this with my clients. It's called being mindful of your RPMs. So what
Okay.
that would be R is relationships, P is physical health, M is mental health, and S is spiritual health. So I always call that the dashboard of our life. If all of those are working properly, your life will be working properly. So being mindful of those, and if you see one of those needing some help, that's when you take that as a maybe a sign that you need further help. And
Okay.
so being mindful of your RPMs is a great way to kind of keep track of your all of your health.
I like in the office here, we actually talk about gas and brake pedals because a lot of times our foot's stuck on the gas pedal, and that's what causes problems, whether it's mental or physical, whatever. Sometimes we need to pump the brake pedal a little bit.
Yes.
The work life balance is it's kind of in my opinion, a little bit of a misnomer because if you were to use the gas brake pedal analogy and you did that in your car and you pressed on both at the same time, you're in trouble. There are
Yep.
times we got to step on the gas pedal, but we
Right.
also got to remember to step on the brake pedal too, and that'll help control the RPMs.
That's great. I love that. Love it.
So you mentioned resources. What kind of resources are you talking about?
Yes, yes. So I recommend 3 books right off the bat. Would be the first one is Get Out of Your Head by Jenny Allen. It's a great book. And then Anxious for Nothing by Max Lucado.
He's a
And
great
then
author. Yeah.
yes, he is. And then thirdly would be Try Softer, not try harder, but try softer. And
Okay.
The author is Ande Kolber. Those are 3 books, like right off the bat, that I would recommend. And then there's lots of resources on our webpage at Care to Change. I do believe that you're going to post these websites.
Yes, the links will be on the Facebook page, and they'll
Yes.
be on our website as well too.
Great, great. So it's caretochange.org. And then we have several podcasts on different mental health issues that would be very helpful for people. And that would also be caretochange.org. So those are some resources that I would recommend.
Okay, good. How would somebody listening here find a counselor or a life coach?
That's great. So there's 3 websites that I would recommend that anybody probably anywhere in the world can find one close to in their surroundings. The first one is Psychology Today, and you'll post that website up. And then Focus on the Family has a website, and Christian Care Connect. Those are where you put in your zip code, and the ones very qualified counselors and life coaches come up that you can find in your area. So there's that. I also do telehealth. I actually have clients in Tennessee that I can do on telehealth. Thank goodness I have that. So if you want to make an appointment with me, you can come to our website at caretochange.org and request an appointment with me.
Okay, awesome. So with all that being said, that was a lot of information. What's your one final thought?
Yeah, I always want to share this with everybody. If you find that you need to talk to someone, and maybe you want to talk to someone that's just totally anonymous, or you are lonely at night and there's nobody awake, and you need to talk to someone, the number 988 is one that you would call, and there would be some very lovely, friendly people on the other end that could just chat with you. So if you ever are in that space, call the 988 number, or remember that number if you see someone that needs to have that number too. So it's a great number to have on hand.
Easy to remember, that's for sure.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Well, Sherry, I do really appreciate you jumping on the Zoom call with us today. I know mental health is huge. We talk so much about it in the office, so I'm glad to have a little bit of an expert opinion helping me out, because I'm not. That's not my formal expertise. It's more with the nervous system. But
yes,
knowing all this information is definitely helpful. I know it's great for my patients too. Hopefully, if somebody does need some help, they'll reach out.
that's right.
But I like I said, really appreciate you coming on today. So, folks, that's it for Total Body Healthcare Whiteboard Wednesday. I'm Dr. Ed. Hopefully, I'll see y'all in the office soon.